The stars stretched endlessly across the sky, but in the deepest corners of the galaxy, a new danger had begun to rise. The alien empire, known for its powerful fleets and devastating technology, had set its sights on the human colonies. For years, the humans had managed to stay hidden in the vast expanse of space, but now their peaceful existence was under threat. The alien empire had conquered many worlds, and now they wanted Earth and its colonies. The humans had always been a mystery to the rest of the galaxy. They weren't like other species. They weren't the most technologically advanced, nor were they the most powerful. But there was something about them, something that made them dangerous. The aliens had underestimated humanity for too long, believing that their strength in numbers and advanced weapons would make the conquest of Earth an easy task. The alien fleet, massive and intimidating, moved toward human space with little resistance. Their ships, sleek and formidable, sliced through the blackness of space, their weapons ready to unleash destruction. The high-ranking officers in the alien empire were confident that this would be another easy victory. But there were whispers, rumors that something was coming, something no one could explain. Intelligence reports from the outer reaches of human space spoke of a mysterious ship, one that seemed to defy the rules of physics and technology. This ship was not like anything the aliens had ever encountered before. It was said to be enormous, with weapons that could tear through the toughest armor. The aliens laughed it off at first. How could such a thing exist? It was a myth, a piece of human propaganda designed to stir fear. But as the alien fleet advanced, strange signals began to appear. Signals from deep space, coming from an unknown source. The aliens couldn't trace the origin. It was unlike anything they had ever detected before. The frequencies were too complex, and the transmissions seemed to move in ways that no alien technology could replicate. The alien commanders were puzzled. They had never seen anything like this in all their years of conquest. As the alien fleet got closer to the human colonies, they began to receive more strange readings. The signals were growing stronger, more frequent. Something was out there, watching them. The once confident alien leaders started to feel uneasy. The rumors of a mysterious human battleship might not have been just rumors after all. The highest-ranking officer in the alien fleet, Commander Zorith, stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the holographic map of the human colonies. His mind raced. The humans couldn't have developed a ship capable of this. Could they? It didn't make sense. His fleet was supposed to be unstoppable. But the reports, the strange signals, they were undeniable. There was something out there, and it was getting closer. Zorith ordered his fleet to stay alert, though he couldn't shake the growing sense of dread. The battle for human space had not even begun, and yet the aliens found themselves facing something far greater than they had ever expected. The humans were not as weak as they had assumed, and soon they would learn just how powerful humanity truly was. The news of strange signals and unexplainable readings spread quickly across the galaxy. The once confident leaders of the alien empire were now deeply concerned. Commander Zorith's reports had reached the Galactic Council, an alliance of alien species that governed the stars. The council was composed of beings from all over the galaxy, each with their own empire and agenda. The council's vast influence made it the most powerful force in the universe, but even they were starting to worry. As the council convened in a massive chamber aboard their central space station, the air was thick with tension. Alien representatives from multiple species filled the room, their eyes flashing with unease. The humans had always been considered insignificant in the grand scheme of the galaxy, but now their quiet existence was turning into something that could threaten the entire empire. Councillor Tharv, a large reptilian alien with scales that shimmered in the dim light, slammed his clawed fist on the table. "This is madness," he roared, his voice echoing off the walls. "The humans are nothing. We've conquered entire star systems. There's no way they could have a ship capable of challenging us." But not everyone was as sure. Councillor Zaria, a graceful being with translucent wings, stood up. "The reports are clear," she said calmly, her voice soft but firm. "Something is out there. The signals, the strange readings. We've never encountered anything like it before." The room fell silent. Zaria's words carried weight, and for once, the council was not so confident in their superiority. The humans had been underestimated for far too long. Zaria was not the only one to notice the change. The others in the room exchanged uneasy glances. If humanity had developed technology capable of challenging the might of the Galactic Council, the balance of power would shift. And no one was ready for that. "I agree with Zaria," said another counselor, a tall, humanoid figure with glowing eyes. "We must prepare for the worst. There is a human ship out there, and it's unlike anything we've seen. If it is as powerful as the reports suggest, we cannot ignore it. Are we to sit back and let a few primitive humans change the course of history?" Tharv sneered. "This ship is nothing more than a myth. The humans are weak, their technology backward." Zaria shook her head. "I don't believe it's a myth, and I don't think we can afford to underestimate them any longer." The tension in the room grew as the council debated. Some wanted to attack immediately, crushing the human threat before it could grow. Others, including Zaria, wanted to proceed with caution. The council was divided, but one thing was clear: the humans had become a problem, and they needed to be dealt with. Zorath's message echoed in their minds. The strange signals, the untraceable ship, it was all too real. For the first time in a long while, the Galactic Council began to feel fear. They had conquered countless worlds without challenge, but now they faced an unknown enemy, one that was capable of surprising them in ways they could never have predicted. And in the back of their minds, they all knew, if the humans had indeed found a way to fight back, the galaxy was about to change forever. The day the humans' battleship appeared was a moment the alien empire would never forget. For weeks, the strange signals had been growing stronger, but the council had refused to believe it. They had mocked the rumors, dismissed them as human exaggeration. But now, as the alien fleet cruised through space toward the human colonies, they saw it with their own eyes. A massive ship, unlike anything the galaxy had ever known, emerged from the darkness of space. Commander Zorath stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the colossal ship that had just appeared on their sensors. The human battleship was vast, its silhouette blocking out the stars around it. The ship's design was entirely unfamiliar, and it radiated an aura of unspoken power. There were no markings or insignia, no indication of its origin, just an enormous, menacing shape. It was as if the ship itself defied logic, its very presence unsettling. The alien fleet slowed as they approached, watching the human ship with a mix of curiosity and dread. Zorath's heart pounded in his chest. This was no myth. It was real, and it was here. "We should engage immediately," one of his officers said nervously. "We can destroy it before it's too late." Zorath turned to face the officer, his eyes narrow. "No," he commanded. "We wait. We need to understand what we're dealing with first." The alien fleet remained at a distance, unsure of the human ship's capabilities. They had faced many enemies before, but nothing like this. The human battleship was silent, floating in space like a predator waiting for its prey. The calm before the storm felt unnatural, and the tension in the air was thick. Without warning, the human ship fired. A single focused beam of energy shot out from its massive cannons. It hit one of the alien destroyers with pinpoint precision, cracking the ship's shields and sending the entire vessel spiraling out of control. The alien crew members on board screamed in panic, but there was nothing they could do. The ship was already lost. Zorath watched in horror as the alien destroyer exploded into a brilliant flash of light. The sheer power of the human ship's weapon was unlike anything the aliens had ever witnessed. It was clean, efficient, and utterly devastating. In a single strike, the human ship had destroyed one of the most advanced vessels in the alien fleet. The other alien ships immediately opened fire, their weapons targeting the human battleship. but the human ship's shields flickered once, then strengthened. The alien blasts seemed to dissipate before they could even reach the hull. Zorath's eyes widened in disbelief. The human ship was practically invulnerable. "What is this?" he shouted to his officers. "What are we dealing with?" But the answer was clear. The human ship was unlike any weapon the aliens had ever faced, and they had no idea how to defeat it. The battle raged on as the alien fleet attempted to regroup, but the human battleship was unstoppable. Every alien ship that tried to get close was either disabled or destroyed by the superior firepower and defensive systems of the human vessel. The aliens could only watch as their once mighty fleet was picked apart, piece by piece. Commander Zorath's mind raced. He had never encountered anything like this before. The humans had caught them completely off guard. It was clear now. The galaxy would never be the same again. The battle continued, but it was clear that the aliens were struggling. Their ships, once considered invincible, now looked weak against the might of the human battleship. Each attempt to strike back only resulted in more destruction. Commander Zorath gritted his teeth in frustration as he watched his fleet fall apart on the holographic display. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. How is this possible? Zorath muttered under his breath, his eyes locked on the human battleship that seemed to be a force of nature. He had ordered his fleet to focus fire, to overwhelm the human ship with sheer numbers, but nothing worked. The human ship adapted quickly to their attacks, as if it knew exactly what they would do next. On the human ship, Captain Anders, the leader of the human forces, stood confidently at the helm. His crew worked in perfect harmony, each member anticipating the next move. Captain Anders had no fear. He knew that they were up against a powerful enemy, but he also knew something the aliens didn't. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology, but in their adaptability. Anders had spent years studying the alien tactics, learning their weaknesses and strengths. He understood how their fleets operated, how they thought. When the battle began, he recognized the first attack pattern the alien fleet used and quickly adjusted his ship's position, allowing the human ship to avoid the worst of the incoming fire. His ship's shields absorbed the first wave, and by the time the aliens adjusted their weapons, the human battleship had already taken the high ground. "Get us into position," Anders commanded, his voice steady. "Prepare for a counterstrike." His crew worked without hesitation, bringing the ship into a perfect angle to attack. The alien ships had no idea what hit them. The human battleship unleashed a wave of energy blasts, each one hitting its target with surgical precision. The aliens, caught off guard by the unexpected shift in tactics, scrambled to defend themselves. "Direct hits on their shields," Captain, one of the officers, reported. "Keep it up. Focus on their engines next. We need them disabled," Anders replied. The human ship didn't just rely on firepower. It was a game of strategy, one where every move had a purpose. The humans didn't fight like the aliens expected. They didn't fight with raw power alone. Instead, they used their minds, their creativity, and their resourcefulness. Every decision was calculated, every move designed to exploit the aliens' weaknesses. As the battle raged on, the alien fleet began to fall apart. Ships that had once been formidable were now vulnerable to the human tactics. Alien commanders barked orders, trying to reorganize their forces, but it was too late. The humans were already one step ahead. Their fleet had mastered the art of surprise, and their attacks were relentless. Zorath could see it clearly now. His fleet was crumbling, and the human battleship was the reason. It wasn't just a matter of technology or weapons. It was the humans' ability to think on their feet, to adapt and overcome. The aliens had relied too heavily on their numbers and their strength, but the humans were proving that their true power lay in their minds. "Fall back," Zorath finally ordered. "Regroup and prepare for a full retreat." But it was already too late. The humans had the advantage now, and the alien fleet, once so confident, was now running for its life. The humans had shown them that, no matter how strong the enemy seemed, They could always find a way to win. The retreat of the alien fleet left a bitter taste in the mouths of Commander Zoreth and his officers. It was a defeat that they had never imagined possible. The human battleship had proven to be far stronger and more unpredictable than they could have ever expected. The alien fleet, battered and broken, limped away from the human colonies, leaving behind the wreckage of their once proud fleet. But despite the humiliation, Zoreth was not ready to give up. "We will not let this go unpunished," Zoreth growled, his eyes burning with anger. "Prepare the superweapon. If the humans think they can defeat us, they are sorely mistaken." The alien empire had a secret weapon, something that even their most experienced commanders had hoped they would never have to use. It was a colossal device capable of destroying entire planets with a single blast. The superweapon had been designed to crush any threat that dared to challenge the Empire. It was their last resort. And now, with their pride and power on the line, they were ready to deploy it. Far from the alien capital, in the heart of human space, the humans were preparing for the next phase of the war. The victory over the alien fleet was a huge boost to their morale, but Captain Anders knew that the battle was far from over. The alien empire had immense resources, and their weapons were unlike anything humanity had ever faced. The superweapon was a real threat, and the humans had to act quickly. "Captain, we're receiving strange signals from the edge of the system," one of the officers reported. "It looks like an alien fleet is regrouping. But something's different. The readings are unusual." Anders frowned. "What do you mean, unusual?" "The readings indicate the use of a massive energy source," the officer explained. "It's unlike any ship or weapon we've ever encountered. It could be a weapon of mass destruction." Anders' heart skipped a beat. He knew what it could be. The alien empire had a superweapon, one capable of wiping out entire planets. If the aliens were bringing it into play, the humans would be facing their most dangerous challenge yet. "Alert the fleet," Anders ordered. "We need to prepare for the worst." The human forces quickly scrambled into action, preparing their ships for what would surely be a difficult and deadly battle. The alien superweapon was designed to obliterate entire fleets in a single shot. If it was truly in play, the humans would have to find a way to counter it. Fast. As the alien fleet made its way toward the human colonies, Zoreth stood at the helm of his flagship, watching the massive weapon in the distance. The weapon, a towering structure with a gleaming core of energy, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It pulsed with power, ready to unleash destruction on the humans. "This ends now," Zoreth muttered, his fists clenched. "Let's see how the humans survive this." With a deafening roar, the alien superweapon fired, sending a beam of concentrated energy toward the heart of the human fleet. The blast was so powerful that it shook the very fabric of space itself. But this time, the humans were ready. They had learned from their previous victory. They weren't going to let the aliens destroy everything they had fought for. Captain Anders watched the blast approach, his mind racing. There was no time to think. He made a split-second decision. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted. The human fleet quickly scattered, moving in all directions, narrowly avoiding the blast. The energy beam struck the space around them, creating a massive shockwave that rippled across the stars. It was a close call, but the human fleet had survived. Zoreth stared in disbelief. The humans had once again managed to avoid destruction. "This is not over," Zoreth growled, already preparing his next move. "We will crush them." The alien superweapon had failed to break the human resolve. The blast had caused massive damage to the surrounding area, but the human fleet had survived. It was a moment of triumph, but Captain Anders knew it was only temporary. The aliens would not back down so easily. They had made it clear that they would stop at nothing to crush humanity, and now it was up to the humans to fight for their survival. On the bridge of the human battleship, Anders paced back and forth, deep in thought. The alien fleet had retreated after the failed attack, but it wouldn't be long before they came back stronger, more determined. The superweapon was a serious threat, and the aliens had more weapons up their sleeves. Anders had to come up with a plan, and fast. "We need to take the fight to them," Anders said, his voice firm. "We can't wait for them to regroup and strike again. If we do, we'll be sitting ducks." His officers nodded in agreement. The human fleet was small compared to the alien armada, but they had proven time and time again that they could outthink and outmaneuver the enemy. The question was, could they keep it up? The alien forces were vast, and their technology was far beyond what the humans had. But the human will to survive was stronger than anything the aliens had faced before. Anders turned to his tactical officer, Lieutenant Riley. "What's the status on the enemy fleet?" "We've got eyes on them," Captain Riley replied, studying the data on his screen. "They're regrouping near the asteroid belt, and it looks like they're preparing for another assault. They're making adjustments to their tactics, moving in tighter formations." Anders nodded. The aliens were getting smarter, adapting to human strategies. But the humans had their own tricks to play. He knew that the element of surprise could turn the tide of battle. It was time to make the first move. "Prepare the fleet," Anders ordered. "We're going in hot. We'll use the asteroid belt as cover, then hit them with everything we've got." The crew scrambled into action, getting their ships into position. The human fleet moved quietly through the asteroid field, staying out of sight as much as possible. The asteroids provided the perfect cover, allowing the humans to approach the alien fleet without being detected. It was a bold move, but one that could give them the advantage they needed. As the human fleet emerged from the asteroid field, they were ready for the attack. The alien fleet was spread out, not expecting an ambush. The humans struck with precision, launching a flurry of energy blasts that crippled the first few alien ships. The aliens were caught off guard, unable to respond in time. "We've got them," Anders said, a sense of confidence building in his chest. "Keep the pressure on. Don't let them regroup." The human ships tore through the alien formation, picking off one ship at a time. The aliens scrambled to defend themselves, but they were disorganized and unprepared for the human assault. It was a battle of speed and agility, with the humans outmaneuvering their opponents at every turn. But even as the human fleet pushed forward, Anders knew they couldn't keep this up forever. They were pushing the limits of their technology and their resources. The aliens might have been reeling, but they were still a formidable foe. The battle raged on, and the humans fought with everything they had. It was a fight for survival, and they weren't about to let the aliens win. As the last of the alien ships in the sector were disabled, Anders took a deep breath. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. The aliens would come back with more firepower, and they would stop at nothing to destroy humanity. The human fleet, though victorious, could not rest. There was more to come. "This is just the beginning," Anders whispered to himself. "We've made our mark, but the real fight is still ahead." The humans had struck a blow against the alien fleet, but there was no time to celebrate. As the last of the alien ships drifted into the darkness, Captain Anders knew this was only a temporary victory. The aliens were still out there, regrouping, and the superweapon was still a threat. He couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was coming. The human fleet, though battered, had taken the fight to the aliens. But Anders couldn't help but feel a growing sense of uncertainty. The battle had been hard-fought, and the human forces were stretched thin. They had relied on their superior tactics and ingenuity to win, but what would happen when the aliens came back with even more firepower? They couldn't afford to keep relying on luck. As Anders paced the bridge, deep in thought, an officer approached him with urgent news. "Captain, you need to see this," Lieutenant Riley said, his face pale. It's a message from the alien fleet." Anders raised an eyebrow. "What kind of message?" "It's not a transmission we can decode, sir," Riley replied. "But we're getting something strange. It's not just an attack plan. It feels personal." Anders turned to the screen. The message appeared on the main view. It was a simple transmission, but there was something about it that made the hair on the back of Anders' neck stand up. The message was clear, though it made no sense at first. We know you are not like the others. You are different. You are not what we thought. We have made a mistake, Captain. The words were unsettling. It was as if the aliens had seen something in the humans that no one had expected, something deeper than just their ability to fight. Is this a trap? Anders muttered under his breath, his eyes scanning the message again. No, sir, Riley replied, his voice full of confusion. It's genuine. The aliens are admitting something. This isn't just an attack. They're acknowledging that they've misjudged us. Captain Anders stood there, stunned. What did it mean? The message didn't fit with anything the humans had known about the alien empire. For years, the aliens had believed themselves to be the superior force, and yet now, they were admitting a mistake. Anders couldn't understand it. What are they saying? Anders finally asked. Riley hesitated, then said, they're saying that they've been watching us, studying us, and they realize now that the humans are not just a threat to their empire. They say we are something they never expected, something even more dangerous than their weapons. It's as if they see us as equals now. Anders' mind raced. The humans had always been seen as the underdogs, a species just trying to survive in a galaxy ruled by more advanced civilizations. But the aliens now saw them as something more. It was as if they recognized that the human spirit, their unyielding will to survive, was not something to be underestimated. They've underestimated us all along, Anders whispered. And now they know they've made a terrible mistake. The message continued, its tone now more somber. We have seen what you are capable of. We have made an error in judgment. We will not come to destroy you, but the consequences of your actions will be worse than death itself. Anders' heart skipped a beat. The aliens weren't giving up, and they weren't backing down, but they were telling humanity something important, something that made the upcoming war even more dangerous than they had imagined. The aliens had finally recognized the truth about humanity. It wasn't just about their technology or their strength. It was about their determination to never be crushed. And now, the aliens were warning them that their survival would come at a price. Anders turned to his crew. Prepare the fleet, he said, his voice low but firm. This isn't over. If they want to test us, we're ready, but we need to be ready for whatever comes next, because we just became the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. The tension in the human fleet was palpable as the final hours of the standoff loomed. Captain Anders stood on the bridge of the human battleship, staring out into the vastness of space. The aliens had sent their message, a warning, but they had also acknowledged humanity's strength. Now, there was a question hanging in the air. Would the alien empire follow through with their threat? Or had they truly realized that humanity was not to be underestimated? The alien fleet had retreated to the edge of the galaxy, regrouping for what would likely be their final strike. The human forces were ready, but Anders knew the coming battle would be unlike any they had faced before. The alien empire was vast, and the superweapon still loomed as a terrible threat. Yet, the message the aliens had sent rang in his ears. We know you are not like the others. We have made a mistake. Those words spoke volumes. Could it be that the aliens were starting to reconsider their approach? Or was it just a trick to lower their guard? We've trained for this moment, Captain, Lieutenant Riley said, breaking Anders' concentration. We know what to do. Anders nodded, but his mind was heavy. I know, Riley, but we have to be smarter than them. The aliens want us to underestimate them, to think they've given up. We can't fall for that. Just then, a new message came through. This time, it wasn't just a transmission, but a formal request for communication. It was from the alien fleet. Captain, the aliens want to talk, Riley said, his voice filled with disbelief. Anders' heart raced. The decision was his to make. Did he believe the aliens had truly changed their mind? Or was this another move in their endless game of strategy? Open the channel, Anders ordered. Let's hear what they have to say. The screen flickered, and soon a high-ranking alien officer appeared. The officer's scales were dark, and his voice held a tone of reluctant respect. "Captain Anders," the officer began, bowing his head slightly. "We come to you now, not as enemies, but as equals. We have made a grave error in judgment." The room fell silent as the officer continued. "We believed the humans were weak, that you could be conquered easily. But after facing your fleet, after seeing what you are truly capable of, we understand now. We were wrong. We cannot defeat you. And we will not try again." Anders was stunned. The alien officer, once so certain of their superiority, was now openly admitting defeat. It was a moment the humans had never imagined, but it was also one they had earned through sheer determination and ingenuity. The officer's voice grew somber. "We are offering peace, Captain. A ceasefire. An end to this war. You have proven your strength, and we now seek an alliance with you. Our empire has faced rebellion, and we can no longer afford to lose more resources in this endless war. We ask for your mercy." Captain Anders glanced at his officers, their faces full of disbelief. The aliens had offered peace, something that seemed impossible just weeks ago. This was the moment they had all fought for. Anders took a deep breath and then spoke. "We will accept your offer, but on one condition. You will respect humanity's sovereignty. No more threats. No more wars. If we are to work together, it will be as equals." The alien officer nodded. "Agreed. We will respect your terms, Captain. We see now that you are not just survivors. You are warriors, and we need your strength on our side." The communication ended, and the human crew stood in stunned silence. For the first time in history, the aliens had bowed to humanity, acknowledging their power and resilience. Anders couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. The humans had won, not through sheer force, but through their ability to adapt, to learn, and to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds. As the human fleet prepared for a new chapter, one that involved building a fragile peace with the once feared alien empire, Anders looked to the stars. Humanity had proved their worth in the galaxy, and now they would play a crucial role in shaping the future. "We've earned our place," Anders said quietly to himself, "and no one will ever forget what humanity is capable of." The news of the alien surrender had spread quickly through the human fleet. The relief was palpable, but there was no time to rest. Peace had been achieved, but it was fragile. Still, the offer from the alien empire held a weight that no one could ignore. Captain Anders knew that this moment would define the future of humanity in the galaxy. The question was, could the peace hold? The human fleet remained on high alert as they waited for the alien leaders to finalize their surrender. The tension among the crew was thick. Everyone knew that this was a delicate time. The alien empire was vast, and its decision to retreat, albeit a major victory for humanity, was likely driven by necessity, not mercy. The humans had proven themselves strong, but could the aliens truly respect the new terms? On the bridge, Captain Anders stood in front of the holographic map, watching as the alien ships moved slowly toward the human fleet's position. They were unarmed, but that did little to ease the suspicion in his mind. He had seen enough of the alien fleet's cruelty to trust them entirely. "Captain, we've received a request for a formal meeting," Riley, his tactical officer, reported, looking up from his console. "The alien leaders want to discuss the terms of the ceasefire face to face." Anders paused for a moment before nodding. "Set it up. Let's see what they want." Moments later, the screen on the bridge flickered to life, and the alien leaders appeared. The once proud warlords now appeared humbled, their expressions serious but respectful. Zoreth, the commander of the alien fleet, stood in the center. The bruises from their previous defeat were still visible, but his posture was straighter than it had been in weeks. "Captain Anders," Zoreth began, his voice steady, yet laced with an unspoken respect. "You have proven yourselves worthy of our recognition. We have learned a hard lesson, but it is one we will not forget." Anders crossed his arms, scanning the alien leaders carefully. The strength in their words didn't fool him. He had been in enough battles to know that actions spoke louder than words. So you've decided to end this war, but I want to make one thing clear. The humans do not fall under your empire. We are not your subjects. Zorath nodded solemnly. That is understood, Captain. We offer no further aggression. We will honor the terms you've set. Humanity's sovereignty will be respected. There was a long pause as the alien leaders exchanged glances, and then Zorath continued. But you must also understand that we are not the only power in the galaxy. There are others, forces beyond even our control, and there may come a time when we must stand together to face threats that neither of us can defeat alone. Anders absorbed Zorath's words. Then we'll form an alliance on equal terms, but humanity will remain free. No one will control us. The alien leaders agreed, and with that, the formal ceasefire agreement was signed. Peace had been won, not through sheer force alone, but through the resilience and courage that humanity had shown in the face of overwhelming odds. The aliens, for all their advanced technology and power, had learned one undeniable truth. Humanity would not be easily subdued. As the meeting ended and the aliens retreated to their ships, Anders allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. The battle for humanity's future had been long, hard, and full of uncertainty. But now, they had a chance to carve their own destiny among the stars. He turned to his crew, who were already preparing the fleet for the next phase. We've done it, he said, his voice filled with pride. We've shown them what humanity is capable of. And from now on, we write our own story. The human fleet stood victorious, not just in battle, but in spirit. The future of humanity had been forever changed. As they sailed into the unknown, Captain Anders knew one thing for sure. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity's place among the stars. The stars stretched out before them, a vast ocean of possibilities. The alien fleet had retreated, the war had ended, and the human fleet was left standing victorious. But for Captain Anders, the victory wasn't just in the battle they had won. It was in the future they had secured, for themselves, for humanity, and for the galaxy. Humanity had always been a species that fought to survive. From the beginning, they had been looked down upon, underestimated, dismissed as weak. The aliens had thought their superior technology and vast armies would easily crush the humans, but the humans had proven them wrong. Through sheer will, innovation, and resilience, they had beaten the odds and secured their place among the stars. As Anders stood on the bridge, watching the galaxy unfold before him, he couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The battles were over for now, but what came next was more important. The future was in their hands, and the humans had to make sure they didn't repeat the mistakes of the past. Captain, we've just received a message from the Galactic Council. Riley, the tactical officer, said. It looks like they're acknowledging the peace agreement. They want to discuss terms for formal recognition of humanity as a sovereign power in the galaxy. Anders smiled, a glimmer of pride shining in his eyes. It's about time. Humanity's earned it. The Galactic Council, once a group of powerful and arrogant beings, had finally come to understand what humanity was capable of. They had witnessed firsthand the strength and resolve of the human spirit. Now, they were acknowledging it, and that recognition was worth more than any military victory. Set up the meeting, Anders instructed, his tone steady. It's time to officially join the galaxy as equals. As the fleet made its way toward the designated coordinates for the meeting with the Galactic Council, Anders thought back on everything they had been through. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had shaped humanity into something stronger. They were no longer just survivors. They were players on the galactic stage, and no one would forget that. The council meeting began, and the room was filled with representatives from various alien species. There was an air of tension, but also a sense of anticipation. The humans were no longer the unknown outsiders. They were now respected, recognized, and ready to claim their rightful place. A member of the Galactic Council spoke, her voice calm but powerful. "Captain Anders, we acknowledge humanity's strength and the peace you have brought. The galaxy has never seen a species with such determination. We offer you full recognition and the opportunity to form alliances with the other powers of the galaxy." Anders stood tall, his voice firm as he responded. "Humanity's place in the galaxy will be one of peace, equality, and respect. We are not here to conquer, but to explore, to learn, and to protect our sovereignty. We stand ready to work with you, but know this: humanity will never be subjugated again." The room was silent for a moment before the members of the council nodded, acknowledging the truth in Anders' words. The humans were no longer a fringe species. They had proven themselves worthy of standing shoulder to shoulder with the greatest powers in the galaxy. As the meeting concluded, Anders couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and responsibility. Humanity had come a long way, but this was just the beginning. There would be challenges ahead and dangers in the vastness of space, but humanity had shown that it was capable of overcoming anything. With a final glance at the stars outside the window, Captain Anders spoke softly to himself. "The universe is ours now, and we will never stop exploring it."